So today, since we were involved in this prayer since the early morning, and we could not complete it before you all arrived here, so we decided that we invite you here instead of staying in the garden room. So I thought we can all share this together. And I know that some of my young monks and nuns, they might fall asleep because they don't understand English. But it's okay, I think. They must be a little tired, so let them nap while I'm talking to all of you. So, last time we were together, we have discussed meditation, walking meditation as such. Now today, I thought we just have a general discourse to recognize the preciousness of human life as Lord Buddha must have perceived. Since in this tradition, we consider wisdom teaching is priceless. There's nothing that is more valuable than wisdom teaching of Buddha. So, when you share this wisdom teaching as a respect to the teaching, we, in our tradition, we honor the messenger who is carrying the message, because the message is so important. So the way to honor is you place the messenger who is carrying the message higher than oneself. Which is to say, we value that teaching, which is to say that we value the wisdom, which is to say that we want to be free from ignorance. So that is why today, and I am sitting on this high throne. Feels kind of funny, you, in the Excellency, you all are down there, I'm sitting way up here. But it's just a way of our tradition, that we honor the teacher and the teaching. So this message in this tradition is very, very profound, because in this message, the reason why I see it is very profound is because in this way, this message or this teaching can never be corrupted. So no individuals or no personalities can corrupt the teaching, the pure teaching of the Buddha. So obviously, unless until we respect the message, unless until we recognize that message is so valuable and so sublime, we will not be able to take that message into our heart. It may enter from your ear, and it might go out from another ear, because you might not be able to hold it in yourself. So, to be able to really have effect, to be able to integrate that message in our way of thinking and our way of living, and we honor the message so much so, we desire the message so much so that we think there is nothing more precious than the wisdom teaching. So Buddha himself said, when his disciples asked, what should they do after he leaves, because they don't have their refuge, their teacher. And Buddha said that you do not have to worry about that. You have my teaching. My teaching is me. And teaching is going to bless you. So that message is very, very profound. And today, all over the world, even though Buddha was born in and Lumbini and lived in Kapilavastu and Tilarakot area, and you do not see much about Buddha's effect in that part of the world, but all over the world, Buddha's message is spreading and is very, very popular. Why that message is spreading all over the world and so popular? I think each and everything Buddha said makes sense to us. Each and everything that Buddha said is very, very applicable in our daily lives. Especially in this kind of pandemic time, Buddha's message is so relevant. And most intelligent people on this earth, whether they are religious or non-religious, whether they are believers or non-believers, once they are able to understand the Buddha's teaching, they are all embracing it. Maybe they are not religious, maybe they are not any kind of believers, but they are really valuing Buddha's teaching. Because I think it's very, very sophisticated, because it's very much to the point. As you know, a very famous scientist like Einstein, Albert Einstein said that if he must follow a traditional teaching, he will follow Buddha's teaching. He will embrace Buddha's teaching. So that means that even Einstein was attracted. And Einstein was able to see there is something very, very meaningful in Buddha's teaching. So today, all over the world, as far as I can see, people who are very influential, people who are very intelligent, people who are very learned, are embracing Buddha's teaching. In a political world, in a diplomatic world, or in a business world, in an academic world, wherever, I notice that people are really able to appreciate. And that's because, interestingly, today, on this day, Shakyamuni Buddha was in Bodh Gaya. And a very early morning, or maybe almost like last night, he was able to overcome from the demonic spirits. And he attained enlightenment today. And after he discovered this, and he thought, this is really amazing what I have discovered. This nectar that I received is not something anybody can comprehend. And nobody will be able to really understand clearly. So I rather not tell anybody. I rather not share with anybody because nobody will probably get it. So he went back into his meditation. But then, in that time, around that area, Devas and Dakinis, they recognized that Buddha achieved something Very, very profound. And then they all went to Buddha and asked, please turn the wheel of Dharma, please teach us what you have understood. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't remain silent. So then he was obliged to teach this, what we have today, and we are able to enjoy. As I look around, today, everywhere, when there is a television and an interview on CNN or BBC or anywhere, if somebody like Secretary General of United Nations or some leaders, political leaders, or some famous people, many times when they had this interview, in the background, I always notice small statue of Buddha or a painting of Buddha or something like that. So I think that also says something. You identify with this personality, identify with this image, which brings calmness in yourself, which brings, some sort of comfort. And another way to look at it is that today, when we need peace, and more than any other times, Buddha's message is completely on this point, to have peace in this world and peace in our mind. So it's like Buddha is now a symbol of peace, and one who can really show us ways to achieve peace, ways to find real peace. So in that sense, I feel very strongly that we must promote Buddha's message and Buddha's teaching all over the world, not necessarily as a religious message, but as a spiritual message, but as a knowledge for everyone to have, because this knowledge will be able to help us relate to our day-to-day life and difficulties. So I think today here together, because not necessarily everyone considers you are Buddhist here, whether you consider Buddhist or not Buddhist, you have this respect, you have this feeling to associate with this someone who realized and able to make really good sense of his life, even though he left and everything, palace and absolute power and luxury palatial lifestyle and everything. I think this is something we are identifying with. And I think which is very important for us to stress is this is everyone's birthright to embrace this profound message that Buddha discovered and left for us. I think this message is, universal message. And this is universal wealth, everybody's wealth. So everybody has the right to feel the ownership of his message. Because Buddha didn't say anything other than what we all need. Buddha did not say anything other than how we should handle our life. So anyone with a compassionate heart, compassionate mind, today even, we will try to say this to our kids, our family, our friends, and our relatives, anyone, to have ways to manage their lives. After all, we all are struggling. There's no one on this earth who is not struggling. And no one on this earth who is not vulnerable. We all are vulnerable in one way or other. Whether we are honest enough, whether we are willing to recognize or not, whether we are capable of recognizing or not, that is the only difference. Those who think they are so powerful, or they act like they are so powerful, and deep down in their heart, they are also going through the same as we are going through, because we are not invincible by any means. No matter how much deep intellectual we have, no matter how much vast knowledge we have, still we have to relate to our day-to-day life, our thoughts and our emotions, and our inevitable situation that we all must face. Therefore, there's no one who is not vulnerable. So, when Buddha was in his palace, he was with his father, King Shuddhodana. And this is what they must have discussed between father and son. Even though father tried to keep him in his palace by providing lots of entertainment, lots of luxury and lots of space, lots of seduction to entice him. But I think that prince was experiencing that real vulnerability inside himself, which he realized that he must be ready to face it and find ways to face it. And that's why he renounced. He went into the woods and he tried to meditate. So, here, one thing today, on this special occasion, I feel we all must commit to develop in our heart is compassion. Knowing that everyone deserves our loving care. Knowing that everyone is going through, no matter what and how they appear in front of us, going through this undercurrent, feeling that they do not know how to handle it fully, and they do not have ability to really handle it fully. So, in a way, today when I talk about compassion, actually it seems to me that compassion means nothing other than intelligence, to have common sense that we all are same. We all are same, therefore, as we take this journey, we now find conviction to take everyone as our partner, everyone as our friend, so that we all will be able to take this journey meaningfully. So I think that is the meaning of life, as far as what I can see Buddha is trying to tell us. Buddha is, of course, capable of leading us very deep into philosophy, where Buddha supposed to have given 84,000 different volumes of the teachings for 84,000 different needs to overcome and be liberated from our 84,000 different ignorant habitual ways. But the bottom line, if you want to base this 84,000 on one point, seems to me, is compassion. So compassion is the recognition of everybody's vulnerabilities. So in our teaching, therefore, from the beginning, Buddha said that life is suffering. Actually, there's nothing but suffering. Whatever you consider is happiness is illusory. It's not real. The happiness you consider is something that is like a food with a poison in it. So it's not going to really make you strong and able to sustain for very long. So for us to be able to develop ability to relate to this poisonous or this suffering world, and we must have ability to see it, true color of it. And then bottom line, for Buddha to have compassion. Why Buddha have compassion? And what is the reason that Buddha have compassion? I think from his own experience of his own life, this great being realized that life is so precious. This precious life is priceless. How precious this life is beyond our imagination. However, not recognizing the preciousness of our lives, Buddha saw that everyone is taking this life for granted, and everyone is wasting their lives. So he wasn't willing to waste his life. So he did not waste his life. He sacrificed, he went through everything to discover how to really value his life. And then Buddha just wanted us to see that, the value of our life. So this is what compassion is. The Buddha's compassion is. And it makes lots of sense right now at this very moment, at this pandemic time, when everybody is in this lockdown situation. Compassion is the only one medicine that can cure this disease. Cure the root of this disease. This coronavirus is a branch of the tree, so to speak. What is the root of this disease is our ignorance. Our ignorance that created this situation. Our ignorance that took our life for granted, and we came to this situation right now. So this compassion, this understanding is not there because we were swayed in a different direction for all these times, and we all took things for granted. In whatever ways you can think about, I think everybody can relate to it. I was thinking for last 2-3 months. And normally I travel a lot. I travel everywhere, and I am rarely here in this monastery which I built. And last few months I was here and enjoying myself, not having to go anywhere and commit myself to this and that meetings and this and that projects and so on and so forth. So not only me, I think everyone, of course those, brothers and sisters who does have to work every day to earn few hundred rupees to feed themselves, that's beyond our imagination. It's very, very tough life there. But people like ourselves, we have everything that we need. We don't have anything that is lacking, except we don't have entertainments, except we don't have opportunity to indulge, except we don't have ways to keep ourselves very busy. We keep ourselves very busy when we do not realize our life is very precious. We keep ourselves very, very busy when we cannot relate to our stream of thoughts, or feelings, what have you. We keep ourselves very, very busy when our ego, identity, make us do things which at the end of the day probably doesn't make much sense, or it is not worth our time. In that sense, to be compassionate is to be real. To be compassionate is to have complete freedom without having to wear a mask. Not just this coronavirus mask, but facade. To be able to experience one's own emotions, feelings, thoughts, and whatever nakedly, but not selfishly. Nakedness of awareness is free from selfishness. When there is awareness of this precious life, we see we are no different from anybody else. We see everyone same. So when we do not have selfishness, we do not try to take advantage of anyone. And we do not take our life for granted either. So this is the message I think Buddha was giving to us and left for us Today, if we remember this message, I think it's very, very meaningful. To honor Buddha on Buddha's Enlightenment Day is for us to try to become enlightened. There's no reason to worship the Buddha as if Buddha is out somewhere there. But it's more profound to worship Buddha by trying to bring Buddha within ourselves. How can we become Buddha so that we have a limitless compassion and limitless wisdom? How we can become real, meaning how we can live our life, how we recognize and realize the preciousness of our life. So how we live our life, this precious life, as if there's no next moment to live this life. I think if we are able to relate to ourselves in this way, we are becoming our true friend. So until now, I'm not so sure we have become our true friend yet. So today, like Buddha's Enlightenment Day, Buddha's Mahaparinirvana Day, Buddha's birthday, maybe give us this opportunity for us to become a real friend of ourselves, so that we do not take life for granted. And I know all of you are very, very accomplished gentlemen, very, very high-ranking, accomplished, and leaders in the society. The most important thing is that we have to be able to lead ourselves. We have to be able to lead ourselves to enlightenment. And that is the real leader, as far as I can see. If we are leading 500 million people, if we are leader of a 500 million people, I don't think is that a big deal. But if you are the leader of your own self, lead to the enlightenment, I think you are the bigger leader than one who is the leader of 500 people. When you have committed to lead yourself to enlightenment, you become an ethical leader. You become a sophisticated leader. You become a meaningful leader. Otherwise, if you are the leader of the world, a leader of country, or leader of what have you, if you are not capable of leading yourself, I think at the end of the day, we will have very big thing to regret. Because that so-called leadership is an identity. That's not who you truly are. And the great saints and rishis and munis and pandits predicted that Prince Siddhartha will become the world leader if he remains in his palace. But if he goes in the woods and pursue a spiritual path, he will be enlightened. But if he remains at his palace, he will become the world leader. But he chose not to remain in his palace, instead to find himself, so that he is able to lead himself. So today again, another message to me, it seems to me, that we have to become our own leader. Because it's in our hand. How you want to spend your life is in your hand. And that doesn't mean that you have to change the job right away tomorrow to have another job to lead. No, not at all. Where you do the job, your attitude, the way you value your time, in whatever position you are. I think this is the key. So to lead yourself to enlightenment, what's that mean? To be able to lead yourself to the enlightenment means you are happy in whatever way you are. You are able to become most natural in whatever situation you are in. You are so natural in whatever situation you are in, where you do not find need to change anything, where you do not feel need to be validated by anything else. So that means I think you are able to remain at ease in every situation. You are comfortable with anyone. In any company, you're happy. With any thought, you're happy. With any feeling, you're happy, which we are not. To lead ourselves to enlightenment, to me, means we are happy with every thought. We are happy with every feeling. We are happy with everybody. We are happy with every situation. And whatever situation we are in, we have nothing to complain. Of course, that's very difficult to obtain. Very difficult. It's very easy for anyone to talk about it. For me also, I can talk about it. But again, we have to live our life without self-deception. We have to become our own true friend. And this is the great day where we have now opportunity to feel in this way and think in this way. And this is also the Buddha's blessing. After more than 2,500 years later, this great being is blessing us right here and now. So how our being in 21st century able to bless beings in maybe 1,000 years from now, how can we wish? How can we have compassion like that we are able to bless? And we are able to find meaningful place for all our brothers and sisters. Here, Buddha's teaching, Buddha's teaching demands for all of us to become real, mature beings. Buddha's teaching, it seems to me, always lead us to show that mature way is the only way. A mature meaning is sort of like a real ripened. A real ripened quality is something that we all must achieve. Today, in the world, and people look at Buddha and Buddha's teaching in many different ways. Many people look at it as the most entertaining, and many people look at it as a very deep philosophy. But I think today I think it's very important to look at it as a way of life. Buddha's teaching is a way of life. How we will be able to relate in that way will benefit that much and all over the world. So this is our way of life actually. This what you are saying, and attitude to just this is our daily way of life. All these monks are here living with me, and when they first came here, they don't know even how to read ka, and they came from very, very far away, a remote area. Now today they are able to practice in this way, and hopefully slowly they learn more about Buddha's teaching, so they will be able to have a meaningful life. They will be able to have a sophisticated life, so that they will be able to handle their neurosis and their thoughts and emotion in a balanced way, in a mature way. And I am glad that we have this opportunity to greet all of you here in our shrine room. So now this is your home, your spiritual home. And always, whenever you have time and whenever you have opportunity, we would like you to join us or come here and take part in meditation and prayer, whatever. So this is our life. We must share our life. I always think in this way. There is 7 billion or more people on this earth, and out of 7 billion or so, you only meet few people in your life. It's not an accident. I think it's a gift. So it's very nice to meet you, just here today the first time, and what a wonderful day to meet you, on this auspicious day. And we are not strangers to each other for sure. I think there is something very deep where we all feel the same, we all value the same, and now we have found opportunity to celebrate together. So I hope this is the start of our celebration, and hopefully we will have lots of time and opportunities to celebrate together and share. So what I was thinking now is that, Madam, if you agree, we will go down and have tea, coffee, and have a very relaxed place downstairs, and then we can have a dialogue, we can have questions and answers, and we can share. Is that okay?
Yeah.